Welcome back to RooTV, your station for weekly updates on UMKC and the local Kansas City community. I'm Marissa Leggio.
And I'm Rex Stickney. The Sunderland Foundation has donated $30 million to UMKC to aid in constructing a state-of-the-art medical and dentistry building on the Hospital Hill campus. An additional $40 million legislation was signed by Governor Mike Parson on top of this donation. UMKC has the only public school of dentistry in Missouri, and Parson hopes that the expansion will allow Missourians to reap the benefits of increased collaboration between healthcare, data science, and biomedical engineering. The new facility will allow for larger medical and dental class sizes and will create more jobs and options of dental care for those who can't afford it.
Amendment 3 on Missouri's general election ballot this November 8th would make Missouri the 20th state in the nation to legalize recreational marijuana use. In addition to the legislation, Amendment 3 would immediately expunge convictions for nonviolent marijuana-related charges and would prevent employers from discriminating against workers with medical marijuana cards if they failed a drug test due to marijuana use. However, some are critical of the lottery system that would be used to issue licenses for recreational marijuana businesses, claiming that the system is restrictive and makes it difficult for business owners in minority communities to acquire these licenses.
A hospital in Joplin, Missouri is under investigation for violating federal law after telling a woman that she needed to leave the state in order to receive an abortion. Doctors at Freeman Health Services in Joplin told 18 months pregnant Melissa Farmer that for her safety she needed an emergency abortion, but that they could not perform one due to Missouri's laws prohibiting abortions. Farmer was able to receive the proper care she needed in Granite City, Illinois, after attempting to obtain medical assistance in Kansas and Ohio. The investigation is regarding a federal law requiring hospitals participating in Medicare to provide care in emergency situations. Under Missouri law, abortions are permitted in emergency situations, and questions are being raised as to how sure doctors are of what treatments are allowed regarding abortions in their state.
Reid, the former assistant coach of the Kansas City Chiefs and son of head coach Andy Reid, was sentenced to 3 years in prison on the 1st of November. This sentencing is the result of a plea agreement made for Reid's DWI charge. Reid received the DWI in February of 2021 after crashing his truck into 2 cars on Interstate 435, seriously injuring 5-year-old Ariel Young. Young received a critical brain injury in the crash, so the Chiefs have agreed to pay for her treatment. This was not Reid's first run-in with the law. Reid pled guilty to unlicensed possession of a firearm in a road rage incident in January of 2007, and later that year was charged with a DUI where he also pled guilty. After sentencing, Reid said he deeply regretted his action and hopes for Ariel's continued recovery.
Now we'll throw it over to Jackson, Josh, and Afnan for this week's roundup of sports and entertainment. Take it away, guys.
Welcome back into the den. I'm Jackson Ogden. The Chiefs and I took a bye week last week and are ready to get right back into it, so here we go. Men's soccer wrapped up its regular season this past weekend with a 2-0 win over St. Thomas here on Senior Day. They finished the regular season with 6 wins, 4 losses, and 5 ties and are headed to Denver to compete in the Summit League tournament. They're set to take on number 1 seed Oral Roberts on Thursday, and if they can pull that one off, they'll take on the winner of Omaha and Denver in the championship, which is slated for Saturday afternoon. Volleyball season is also coming down to an end, and they were able to pick up a big 3-1 road win against Denver this past weekend. They're set to play South Dakota on Thursday and then South Dakota State on Saturday for Senior Day. So if you haven't gotten a chance to see them, this is the time. Basketball season has officially arrived, and our men's team has a huge week ahead. They kick off the year against Lincoln right here at home, but head to LSU on Wednesday and number 23 Illinois on Friday for what is set to be a big week for them. Our women's team is also tipping off this week, taking on Westminster, Tennessee State, and UTEP, all right here at home. On to national sports, the Chiefs came back from the bye and defeated the Titans by a score of 20-17 in overtime. Patrick Mahomes threw the ball an absurd 68 times in the win, which was 2 off from tying the NFL record. This was large part and due because of the complete and inept ground game. The Chiefs running backs had a combined 13 carries for an abysmal 14 yards. Mahomes would run for 63 yards and a touchdown himself as he carried the Chiefs offense to the finish line for the win. Kansas City moves to 6-2 and sits atop the AFC West as they head into the Week 10 game versus the Jacksonville Jaguars right here at home. Before I sign off today, the Royals made some big news. The team announced last week they hired Matt Quatrero to be the 18th manager in team history. Quatrero was the bench coach for the Rays this past season and was a highly sought-after guy by many this offseason, but ultimately the Royals were able to land him in what seems to be the first good hire they've made since I was still learning how to drive. I guess all my yelling and passionate rants up here finally made its way to the front office because the losers are out and the winning regime is right here. Well, that's all I've got for this week in the Den. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you here again next week in the Den.
Welcome back to Arts Entertainment. I'm your host, Joshua Cunningham. And guys, guess what? I finished The Mole. It was amazing. You guys should continue watching that if you started it, and you should start watching it if you haven't. Also, if you want another series to watch on Netflix, there's a show called Killer Sally. It's 3 episodes. It's a documentary. It's really good. I finished that this weekend as well, so I suggest you watch it. But on to the music. I know that's what you guys want, so I'm going to give it to you, okay? First, I want to talk about The Melodic Blue by Baby Keem. It's his deluxe album, okay? So we dropped like about 7 more songs, and man, they were good. I mean, I enjoyed it. I think Baby Keem is a real artist. He's not just a rapper, but he's an artist. My favorite song from this deluxe album, I'd say, was Patience Interlude and Fine China. I just like the vibe of those songs, honestly. Baby Keem has a really nice vibe, so I like those. And I think the sleeper pick off that album was definitely Highway 95. I feel like that was the one he really was just getting in his bag, telling us how he felt. But it was short, so, you know, I can't give it the best song, but it was good. Now, on to what every one of you guys is waiting for. Drake dropped his album with 21 Savage, Her Loss. And boy, it didn't disappoint. I know we were nervous. We had Honestly Nevermind last time, and people were not vibing with that. There was a few songs I liked off of it, but I get it. We weren't really wanting the dance music. We had Certified Lover Boy. Wasn't as good as we wanted. Just, he's been disappointing us recently, okay? I mean, I love Drake, so usually when he drops, I'm pretty happy, but this one just blew it out of the water. I turn on my AirPods, I press the first song, Rich Flex, and I'm like, wow. I know that Drake's going to go crazy this album, and he did. It felt like he had something to prove. It felt like he had a chip on his shoulder, you know what I'm saying? And he was just like flexing on us all the time. While he had a chip on his shoulder, while he had to prove something, he also was showing that he had to prove nothing to y'all, because guess what? Y'all love Drake. He knows that if he were to drop a song with you, you'd blow up. He knows that he's doing bigger numbers than every other rapper because he's Drake. And he's did amazing this album. If I had to rate the album out of 10, I would say it was an 8 out of 10. You guys should really give it a listen. I haven't stopped listening to it since it dropped. And if you guys want to know my favorite songs, I'd say Broke Boys was one of them for sure. More M's was great. And then Rich Flex. All 3 of those were just bangers. And there's more bangers out of the album. And then a sleeper pick was definitely 3 a.m. on Glenwood. It's not like one of the best songs on the album, but it's good. It's 21 Savage's only song by himself, and I feel like he really just got to talk his mind, and I liked it a lot. But Drake, keep doing what you're doing. Keep putting out hits. Keep making albums like Her Loss. And if you want to hear more of my music opinions, movie opinions, or TV show opinions, follow me on Instagram at mr.cunning123, and come back next week to hear what I have to say on RooTV.
Welcome back to Book Review. My name is Afnan Hussein. A new month means new reads, and today I'm going to talk about the books I am currently reading and will read for the month of November. The first book I read is It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. I reviewed It Ends With Us last semester and discussed how much I enjoyed it. I'm not sure if it's my growth in the types of books that I read, but I half-heartedly enjoyed this book. Please do not come at me, Book Talk, but this book was written just for you. The ending in It Ends With Us was perfect. It left us to imagine our own ending for Lily, the main character, and it was realistic. I don't loathe It Starts With Us, but it does feel more like a long and unnecessary epilogue to It Ends With Us, rather than the separate, worthwhile story it should have been. So it's rather disappointing that this story didn't do much for me. There was no emotional punch, no compelling conflict. It took me days longer to read this than I anticipated, because I didn't feel any pull to keep going. And now, having finished it, I would rate it a 2 out of 5 stars. Second, we have Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I cannot put this book down. I am 5 chapters in and I have highlighted almost everything. Galaxy Alex Stern is the most unlikely member of Yale's freshman class. Raised in the LA hinterlands by a hippie mom, Alex dropped out of school early and into a world of shady drug dealer boyfriends, dead-end jobs, and much, much worse. By age 20, in fact, she is the sole survivor of a horrific unsolved homicide. Some might say she's thrown her life away. But at her hospital bed, Alex is offered a second chance to attend one of the world's most elite universities on a full ride. What's the catch, and why her? I stayed up past my bedtime for this book, which is rare. It's one of the best fantasy novels that I have read in years. This book is brilliant, funny, raw, and utterly magnificent. It is a portal to a world you'll never want to leave. The third book I'm going to read and have not started is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. Ghosts, graveyards, small towns, and love. What more could you ask for this cold season? The story follows Florence Day, a ghostwriter for a very, very famous romance author. Florence has successfully written several books, but when her boyfriend breaks her heart, she no longer writes about love. Her new editor demands that the next book to be finished, but then tragedy strikes and Florence must go back to her hometown. One night, when someone knocks on the funeral house's door, someone unexpected shows up, and he is not alive. I'm excited to find out what happened, and the autumn to winter transition makes this the perfect November read. If you like this review, check out my Instagram at afhussein_ for more. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for tuning into this week's episode of RooTV. Be sure to hit the notification bell and subscribe for more UMKC and Kansas City community news.
And check out our Instagram at RooTV11. See you next week.